Welcome to the Chapter 1 podcast, your inside look at the people powering Charlotte's business scene. Real people, real entrepreneurs, real stories right here in the Queen City. Today we're here with Leah Henrickson. Is that right? Henrichsen with Animal City. We're excited to have you on. And Leah, let's start at Chapter 1. How did you make your way to Charlotte?
Okay. I would say happenstance or maybe luck. In 2015, my husband and I were living in Southern California, and we decided California was not the place for us and started thinking about moving. And we landed on Arizona, little Scottsdale, Arizona. There were a few things there that were kind of driving us there. And when I went to my company that I worked for at the time, they said, hey, do you want to move a little further east? Perhaps Charlotte. And we talked about it over a weekend and said yes. And with having never been there or here, and we 6 months later we got in a car and drove across the country, and we've been here for 11 years now, and we love it.
Wow!
Yeah.
So it all started in California.
It did.
So what was so rewind to that part of life? What was growing up in California like, and how did you make your way, I guess, to your professional career?
Well, we met in 2010, but I had been in and out of California all of my life. We lived all over the place, and California was wonderful in the 70s and 80s. And then it got more crowded and more crowded and more crowded, and everybody wanted a piece of that. And it got a little bit too much for us.
Sure.
And we decided we needed to find a new path. And the thing that I love about Charlotte is what's actually happening today is it's raining. Water falls from the sky. It's a whole
some people don't like that
concept,
too much.
Well, in California, you don't get rain. And that's a big problem, when you have hundreds of millions of people wanting water. So that was one of the things that we first loved when we moved here was, oh my gosh, we can have a garden and it's okay.
So professionally, what was your first job? What was your first step into adult life and working?
Oh, it was so if you know Southern California, there's the Del Mar Fair. It's a fairly large fair that happens every summer. My first job was the gyro stand. We called it the gyro stand. It's the Euro stand for 2 weeks, and it was horrible. And you're in a hot little sweaty box, and you are suffering the whole time. It was pretty awful. But I've done a lot of things in my career, from data analyst to house cleaner to waitress. And in 2019, Jamie and I decided to create our own business, and have not looked back since. Not one time. Don't ever want to work for anybody ever again. And then not through that, but because I had that opportunity and the freedom, I was able to create Animal City.
Also, so now let's get to Animal City and just tell everybody what is. I mean, I'm curious too. What's Animal City? I know it's a nonprofit, but explain to me a little bit more about what you guys do.
Yeah. So our main goal and our whole mission in the world is to help pets when their people pass away. And so people don't think about what happens to their pets if they were to die, because most of the time, dogs, cats, they live 15, 20 years. You're going to most likely outlive them. But what happens when you don't, and you have an accident or something horrible happens? Well, we learned that lesson very clearly and very scarily, that the thing that happens is you go to animal control. If you know anything about rescue and what's happening in animal control, it's bad. It's not great. It's not a place that you would want your beloved pet to be ever.
Sure.
So I got into Animal City literally by accident, like literally. I've always loved animals. Since I was 5 years old, I was dreaming of being a racehorse jockey and having all these crazy dreams and being a veterinarian and all these things, and none of that quite worked out, which is fine. And in 2019, we got into a car accident. Super scary, totally fine. We were not hurt. But that jarring experience led me to think, gosh, what would happen to all of our animals if we had died? Our families are on the other side of the country, right? So there's nobody physically here that would be able to step in. And when I researched that, the answer was animal control. Animal control would come in and take them and do what they do and hopefully try to rehome them. But, that's not often the case. And it really jarred me and really made me start to think, this is not great. And what can, are there organizations out there that do this? And there's not really. There are some organizations that have an element of helping pets when their people die, but there was nothing out there that was focused.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, okay, I need it. I'll create it. And so 2021, we got our 501c3 and have not looked back since.
So starting a nonprofit is different than just starting a regular company.
Yep.
Take me through that process. I mean, was it uncharted waters for you?
Oh, yeah.
Was it just completely new? And just explain to people what that process looks like, how to do it.
It seems really scary and intimidating, and it was at the time. And the IRS gives you a form that's very detailed. And at first I was like, oh my God, I have to fill out all of this stuff. But the process of creating the document that they needed helped me get a lot of clarity into what Animal City was and what it wasn't. And so, I mean, it was pretty simple with a lot of fear associated with it. So, you go through this big form, you gather people together that believe in your mission, that want to help support the mission, that will work for free because we're all volunteers, when nobody gets paid anything. And you start to have ideas about what you want to do and what you want to be, and you kind of build it slowly, but you build it. And I didn't have a problem, fortunately, getting our 501c3. Once that document was complete, it was like a roadmap of who we were, which I kind of really appreciated, actually.
So 2021, that's when you started. How did it get off the ground? What was marketing like when you started it? I mean, how did you get the word out?
I would go to networking groups and just say, this is who we are and what we do. I would go to Whitewater Center. They would have, animal festivals, things like that. And we would just talk to people one-on-one. So we didn't, because we had no budget, right? We have very little money. We are not a big, organization that has money flooding in that we can spend on marketing. So, we beg people, oh, can we, can you promote us? Can you help us? We got our social medias going out there and, all of that. At the beginning, it was just really word of mouth, like, hi, do you want to be part of this? And we started to get a little bit of a following and people really, anytime I explain what we do, people are very, oh my gosh, that is so needed, and work with us to create the things that they need to protect their pets.
And so now, for you guys take the situation from the owner passes away, and now these pets are kind of just swiped off into the ether, into animal control. What is it that you guys come in and change about that? Like, how is it that you're serving your clients? What is it that you're accomplishing for them?
Yeah. So the first part of that is we want to interrupt that cycle. So we get to you before you die, right? Because that's when we can make a plan. And what doing that ahead of time allows us to do is understand what that pet's needs are, what they, medications, all the things that go into having a pet on a daily basis that you don't think about. Somebody else is going to need to know that. And so we collect all that information. We help you make a plan ahead of time when it's not a stressful situation. So that's the big bulk of our organization, and how we want to focus is helping people create that plan. And then we help enact that plan. So if you passed away, you had a plan with us, you passed away, we step in and don't let them go to animal control. We get them into foster care. We get them to your godparents if you have them. We get them to that next step for them. Now, if you didn't have a plan and your pet does go to animal control, we can still help sometimes. If we have the resources and the fostering and all of that, we can go in and get that pet out of there. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of those that we can do, but we definitely do that.
So what's one of the more interesting things that's happened over your time doing this? Have there been any just like stories that you didn't expect, like things would be this way, or situations that were kind of difficult that you didn't expect would happen?
The rescue world, it's difficult. They're like all the stories, they're heartbreaking stories. Like just heartbreaking stories. We've got a cat in our care right now. Her person died over a year ago, and her daughters came to us and said, we can't do this. So it's like people who think, oh, my family will take care of it. Well, they're left with a mess, right? And they can't have this cat. And so we stepped in, and it's sad. It's really sad, and it's hard to not break down and just lose your way. So there's a lot of crazy, and in rescue, there are amazing, wonderful, amazing people, and then there are also horrifying people. And you just got to keep your focus on the amazing people doing good and trying to help.
So what out of all the, I mean, you're working with animals, which I know is something that you'd always said you dreamed of.
Yep.
What would you say is the thing that you love most about what you're doing now with Animal City?
Getting them the new home. We just this Saturday brought a dog who lost their person 3 years ago. She's been in foster care for 3 years. She was at animal control. Some other organizations got her out before her last day, and she got a home on Saturday. And to take that dog to this new home that's going to be hers, and these people are already in love with her and just think she's the best thing that ever lived. I mean, that journey, like that, I don't want to tear up. I'm not tearing up. Are you tearing up? Don't tear up. It's so fulfilling to know that you made a difference, in that animal's life, like a significant difference. And that's the thing for me, for sure.
For somebody else that maybe is on the outside looking in as far as entrepreneurship or maybe even starting a nonprofit, what's, I mean, having gone through it, what are some of the hurdles that you had to overcome? What's some advice that you'd give that person?
Patience. Yeah, you got to be patient, especially with a nonprofit situation. It doesn't happen fast. I mean, we're 5 years in, and my dream is a national organization. We're barely outside of Charlotte now, so it's slow. But it's worth it, and you've just got to start. I think the biggest thing is you got to get over the fear of taking that leap and just try, because if you don't try, then nothing will ever happen, and you won't know what you can do. You won't know what you're capable of, and they just keep going.
Well, what does that process look like when somebody does say, let's say I've got pets and maybe this is something I haven't thought of a whole lot. I'm sure our audience might be in a similar boat of like, I haven't really thought about passing away and what that looks like. But what does that process look like? Okay, now I've thought about, now I've seen this. Go from there. That person, how do they go and set this up?
It's so simple. We have a conversation, right? We have a little conversation. What are your animals? You have a dog, you have a cat. What do you got? We talk about their specific needs, what they want. We make a plan around them. Do you have, your brother in California or wherever who would say, oh, yeah, absolutely, I would take them. Well, how do they get there? And we work out all the details about what that looks like for that particular pet. And then we create this plan that you then fund by yourself with tools like life insurance policy, like a $5,000-$10,000 life insurance policy. So like something that's not significant cost outlay for you, that's in your control the entire time. You set that up. We're the beneficiary. Something happens, we jump in, and we have the funds to be able to do all of the things that need to be done. And then that's it. Like that's like literally it. Like it's very simple, very straightforward. We're there to make sure that your pets have a path, have people that are going to support them, that are not wrecked because you died, right? So if you think, oh yeah, my family, absolutely your family. Your family is probably amazing, wonderful people who would love your animals.
Sure.
But you just died. Are they in a do they have the mental capacity, emotional capacity to handle what's happening with this animal and what their specific needs are? Because those pets are going to grieve too in their own way. Their life is completely, turned around. They don't know what's going on, just that their normal life is gone. And so they need support in that way too. And we help support that.
So let's talk about just operating all those things, but here in Charlotte. So like, what's your presence in Charlotte look like? What are some of your favorite parts about being a business owner here in Charlotte, and how has that affected kind of what you do?
Charlotte is a dog city.
Is it a dog city? I was about to ask. I was curious to be like, what are the animals we're getting here?
Yeah, I mean, it's very much a dog city. There's a lot of cats too, but there's a lot of access for dogs. You can take your dog to almost any bar or any park or anything, and they're welcome. And there's dog water bowls there. And so people love their animals here. And I think that's really helping this process to be what we need it to be, because people are focused and people love their animals. You know, how can you not? They're babies. They have who love them.
So how can people find you? Like, if people wanted to get in contact with you, they're watching this, they're curious. How can we find you? Do you have an actual location, or is it mainly just digital? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's all digital at this point. We don't have a physical location. That's a fun fantasy goal of mine. But we've got a website. We've got all the social medias. So it's animalcityhaven.org is our website. There's a lot of information about us. We're on all the socials, Animal City Haven, and we promote a lot of what we're doing, and we promote our animals. We've got a few animals in our care that are looking for homes. So, we've got one pitty mix.
Okay.
He's been in foster care for 3 years. He's adorable. His name is Waffles. He's ridiculous. I mean, how could he not be? So it's that's how they get a hold of us.
Awesome. Well, this was great, Leah. We loved having you on. This is Leah again with Animal City, and this has been the Chapter 1 podcast.